Explanation of hypnotic language. Hypnotic language refers to the strategic use of words and phrases in a way that subtly influences the receiver's subconscious mind, prompting them towards chosen thoughts or actions. This language technique is primarily known for its application within therapeutic settings, particularly hypnotherapy, where it assists in guiding individuals into a relaxed state of conscious awareness. However, its effectiveness extends beyond therapeutics, penetrating diverse domains, including the law. In legal contexts, hypnotic language is not about casting spells or mind control. Instead, it uses the power of suggestion and specific linguistics to create a state of higher suggestibility, presenting ideas in the most persuasive light. Power of persuasion in legal documents. The legal world is one experiencing constant clashes of interpretation. Wielding the power of persuasion in this realm therefore becomes not just an advantage, but often a necessity. Persuasion in legal documents can shape interpretations, direct narratives, and influence the decision-making process. Legal persuasion can also set sensitivities around facts and dictate how these facts should be perceived. More evidently, the precise and persuasive use of language can tip the scale in dispute resolutions, client advocacy, and even courtroom litigation. Objectives in this work. This work aims to explore and delve into the intricacies of hypnotic language as applied within legal contexts. We'll take a look at how it fuels persuasion in legal documents, aiding the achievement of desired outcomes. The objective is not to encourage misusage, but to highlight the potential benefits for legal professionals when they master this powerfully persuasive tool. Our journey will include a blend of theory, practical application, and case studies to provide comprehensive understanding and real-world insight. In essence, this work seeks to enhance your skills as a legal professional, introducing you to a new array of linguistic tools and techniques. As such, one can expect to walk away with a more nuanced understanding of hypnotic language, its ethical application in legal documents, and how to use its powers to create more persuasive, compelling legal narratives. The psychology of persuasion. Principles of persuasion. Persuasion sits at the crux of influential communication, with the ability to convince others to share your point of view being a valuable attribute across various sectors, including law. Several fundamental principles guide the articulation of persuasive messages. The pioneering work of psychologist Robert Cialdini outlined 6 primary principles of persuasion: reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Reciprocity. People tend to repay what another person has provided them. In a legal context, providing valuable insights or help beforehand can make your argument or proposal more persuasive. Scarcity. Items and opportunities are more attractive if they are limited. This principle can manifest itself in legal settings as a deadline or limitation to push for a decision. Authority. People respect authority and are more likely to follow advice or direction from a perceived expert. Utilizing your expertise as a lawyer or your organization's reputation can enhance your persuasion. Consistency. People prefer to be consistent with their prior commitments and attitudes. Maintaining a consistent argument in legal documents can make it more persuasive. Liking. People are more inclined to comply with requests from people they like or share some commonality. Establishing common ground and rapport can increase your persuasive force. Consensus. People often determine what is correct by finding out what others think. Using precedents or majority opinions can aid your persuasion in legal settings. How hypnotic language impacts persuasion. At its core, hypnotic language is a potent tool of persuasion. Its power lies in its subtle nuances of language that influence the subconscious mind, making it more susceptible to suggestions. The use of hypnotic language conjures imagery and emotions, primarily appealing to the reader's emotions rather than just logic. This form of language creates an irresistible rhythm that pulls the reader into a trance state, which disarms the critical mind, making your arguments not just heard but also felt. Hypnotic language, when accurately incorporated into legal documents, can make the argument more compelling. It achieves this by emphasizing specific elements, creating sensory-rich experiences, and inducing a subconscious agreement with the narrative. These implications of hypnotic language on persuasion are thus fundamental and considerably significant. Structuring persuasive arguments using hypnotic language. Adopting the principles of persuasion together with hypnotic language can pave the way to creating irresistible legal arguments. Here's a potential approach. Establish authority and consistency. Use hypnotic language to highlight your expertise or the firm's reputation, emphasizing prior commitments or decisions. Evoke reciprocity and liking. Use storytelling elements in your language to connect with your readers, to make them feel that they are gaining something or feel a sense of rapport. Harness scarcity and consensus. Utilize phrases that suggest limited availability or time, or highlight consensus opinions or precedents to create more persuasive documents. The precise application varies with each case, but mastering these techniques will impart you with an invaluable skill to enhance your persuasiveness. Hypnotic language in legal documents. Examples of hypnotic phrases in legal documents. Hypnotic language in legal documents employs phrases designed to strongly suggest a particular mindset or outcome. They pivot on word choice, tone, rhythm, and sentence structure to subtly influence perception. Here are examples of how ordinary phrases in legal documents could be reframed into hypnotic ones. Standard phrase: it is required that. Hypnotic phrase: we're confident that you'll see the benefit in. Standard phrase: failure to comply will result in. Hypnotic phrase: to avoid unintended consequences, we suggest. Standard phrase: our terms are as follows. Hypnotic phrase: because we value clarity, we've outlined terms as follows. The hypnotic phrases come across as suggestive, yet persuasive without being overly forceful. How hypnotic language enhances persuasiveness in legal documents. Applied strategically, hypnotic language considerably enhances the persuasion power of legal documents. By skillfully addressing subconscious cognition, it leads the reader towards the intended conclusion in a subtle, non-confrontational manner. Here's how. Increased engagement. Hypnotic language constructs a more engaging narrative, holding readers' attention and keeping them invested in your message. Heightened suggestibility. By putting the reader into a mildly trance-like state, it increases their suggestibility, making them more accepting of your arguments. Emotional influence. Hypnotic language evokes emotions and appeals to values, pushing beyond purely logical arguments and fostering a deeper connection to your points. Subconscious impact. By targeting the subconscious mind, it guides the reader's thought process below the level of conscious awareness, influencing their opinion more effectively. Ethical considerations when using hypnotic language in legal documents. It's essential, however, to underscore that although hypnotic language magnifies persuasion capabilities, it must always abide by legal and ethical principles. Here are a few considerations. Honesty and transparency. Manipulating emotions or perceptions to take undue advantage or misrepresent facts is unethical. Honesty in communication must remain paramount. Respecting autonomy. Hypnotic language should not impede the person's autonomy or coerce them into circumstances against their will or best interest. Maintaining professional integrity. Lawyers must uphold their professional integrity, ensuring their use of hypnotic language remains within the boundaries of legal and ethical standards. Coming up, we'll explore these themes further while also providing hands-on guidelines and exercises to hone your skills in utilizing hypnotic language effectively while adhering strictly to ethical standards. Practical application of hypnotic language. The key to unlocking the power of hypnotic language within legal contexts lies in understanding its effective and ethical application. Here, we examine how hypnotic language can be incorporated into clauses and contracts, advocatory and judicial proceedings, as well as dispute resolution and negotiation processes. Structuring clauses and contracts with hypnotic language. Integrating hypnotic language into contracts and legal documents can create persuasive, descriptive, and appealing documents. Here's how to structure clauses and contracts accordingly. Use clear and compelling language. Employ an unambiguous yet engaging tone, making content easy to understand while maintaining the reader's investment. Implement sensory-rich descriptions. Add concrete, sensory details to emphasize the consequences or implications of specific terms or agreements. Incorporate the principle of reciprocity. Frame obligations, duties, and responsibilities from a perspective that highlights the mutual benefits of compliance. Apply embedded commands. Weave subtle direction and guidance into the text that encourages readers to follow your suggestions, while keeping it natural and problem-solving oriented. Using hypnotic language in advocatory and judicial proceedings. Applying hypnotic language in advocatory and judicial proceedings can increase influence and persuasion while ethically maintaining a strong case. Here's how. Establish rapport. Build connections with judges, jurors, and opposing counsel to increase receptivity to your arguments. Utilize storytelling techniques. Create strong mental imagery to evoke emotions and make your case memorable. Control the narrative. Guide the narrative by emphasizing key themes and values, purposefully placing statements and questions for maximum impact. Monitor reactions. Observe reactions throughout the proceedings to refine language usage. Adapt and adjust hypnotic techniques to achieve desired outcomes. Hypnotic language for dispute resolution and negotiation. Hypnotic language can also be invaluable during dispute resolutions and negotiations, fostering agreement and amicable outcomes. Here's how. Focus on interests, not positions. Aim to address the underlying interests and values, finding common ground between parties by using hypnotic language to evoke empathy. Create win-win scenarios. Frame proposals with mutually beneficial outcomes in mind, employing sensory-rich language to clarify abstract concepts and optimize acceptance. Offer choices, not ultimatums. Hypnotic language offers different alternatives without creating confrontational scenarios, working to maximize possibilities for consensus. Manage emotions and expectations. Use hypnotic language to ease tension, maintain a productive atmosphere, and guide parties towards resolution. Through the practical implementation of hypnotic language in the legal landscape, legal professionals can achieve more persuasive and influential outcomes, albeit with the ethical considerations outlined earlier remaining paramount. Coming up, we will delve deeper into different contexts and settings, providing exercises and real-life examples to enhance your understanding of the nuances in hypnotic language application. Practical application of hypnotic language. The key to unlocking the power of hypnotic language within legal contexts lies in understanding its effective and ethical application. Here, we examine how hypnotic language can be incorporated into clauses and contracts, advocatory and judicial proceedings, as well as dispute resolution and negotiation processes. Structuring clauses and contracts with hypnotic language. Integrating hypnotic language into contracts and legal documents can create persuasive, descriptive, and appealing documents. Here's how to structure clauses and contracts accordingly. Use clear and compelling language. Employ an unambiguous yet engaging tone, making content easy to understand while maintaining the reader's investment. Implement sensory-rich descriptions. Add concrete, sensory details to emphasize the consequences or implications of specific terms or agreements. Incorporate the principle of reciprocity. Frame obligations, duties, and responsibilities from a perspective that highlights the mutual benefits of compliance. Apply embedded commands. Weave subtle direction and guidance into the text that encourages readers to follow your suggestions, while keeping it natural and problem-solving oriented. Using hypnotic language in advocatory and judicial proceedings. Applying hypnotic language in advocatory and judicial proceedings can increase influence and persuasion while ethically maintaining a strong case. Here's how. Establish rapport. Build connections with judges, jurors, and opposing counsel to increase receptivity to your arguments. Utilize storytelling techniques. Create strong mental imagery to evoke emotions and make your case memorable. Control the narrative. Guide the narrative by emphasizing key themes and values, purposefully placing statements and questions for maximum impact. Monitor reactions. Observe reactions throughout the proceedings to refine language usage. Adapt and adjust hypnotic techniques to achieve desired outcomes. Hypnotic language for dispute resolution and negotiation. Hypnotic language can also be invaluable during dispute resolutions and negotiations, fostering agreement and amicable outcomes. Here's how. Focus on interests, not positions. Aim to address the underlying interests and values, finding common ground between parties by using hypnotic language to evoke empathy. Create win-win scenarios. Frame proposals with mutually beneficial outcomes in mind, employing sensory-rich language to clarify abstract concepts and optimize acceptance. Offer choices, not ultimatums. Hypnotic language offers different alternatives without creating confrontational scenarios, working to maximize possibilities for consensus. Manage emotions and expectations. Use hypnotic language to ease tension, maintain a productive atmosphere, and guide parties towards resolution. Through the practical implementation of hypnotic language in the legal landscape, legal professionals can achieve more persuasive and influential outcomes, albeit with the ethical considerations outlined earlier remaining paramount. Coming up, we will delve deeper into different contexts and settings, providing exercises and real-life examples to enhance your understanding of the nuances in hypnotic language application. Case studies. Here, we walk you through real-life examples where hypnotic language has been used to effectively persuade, exemplifying how it can impact the outcome of legal proceedings. We will analyze legal cases and notable instances of hypnotic language's influence on judgments. Case Study 1. High-profile divorce proceedings. In this scenario, a high-profile divorce proceeding with substantial assets at stake, the plaintiff's attorney used hypnotic language effectively during the trial. Through strategically bonding storytelling, the attorney painted the divorcing couple's experiences with vivid imagery, evoking the emotions of the judge and jury. Additionally, the attorney demonstrated an uncanny ability to control the narrative, utilizing carefully chosen language to guide the court's focus on key areas beneficial to their client. By establishing rapport with opposing counsel and finding common ground in shared interests, the attorney created a congenial atmosphere that ultimately swayed the decision in their client's favor. Case Study 2. Intellectual property dispute. In an intellectual property dispute between two tech giants, the plaintiff's legal team effectively utilized hypnotic language in their written submissions and oral arguments. By harnessing the power of suggestion and embedded commands, they emphasized the enormity of the intellectual property theft and its implications on the industry. They painted a clear, emotionally charged picture, using sensory-rich descriptions to better convey their points. The legal team also utilized the principle of authority by referencing similar cases and well-backed precedents to bolster their arguments. Ultimately, the skillful use of hypnotic language contributed significantly to the favorable judgment for their client. Case Study 3. Mediation, commercial contract dispute. In a commercial contract dispute between two companies, a mediator adept at using hypnotic language was appointed to foster resolution. Employing tactics focused on interests, rather than positions, the mediator evoked empathy with emotive language and reframed arguments to emphasize mutual benefits. The mediator offered multiple scenarios and choices instead of presenting ultimatums, using sensory-rich language to illustrate the potential outcomes of each option. Moreover, the mediator managed emotions and expectations expertly, diffusing tensions and maintaining a productive atmosphere. In the end, the mediator's application of hypnotic language played an essential role in achieving an amicable settlement for both parties. Through these case studies, it becomes evident that the principles and techniques of hypnotic language offer significant potential to legal professionals across various situations. Whether it's in the courtroom, drafting legal documents, or dispute resolution, hypnotic language can be a powerful persuasive tool when used correctly and ethically. In the upcoming section, we will provide further examples, exercises, and guidelines to further hone your skills in applying hypnotic language in the legal domain. Improving your hypnotic language skills. Developing and refining your ability to use hypnotic language is a progressive process. Although it can seem complex, implementing specific techniques, exercises, and refinement processes can dramatically accelerate your skill development. Techniques for learning and practicing hypnotic language. Read widely. Familiarize yourself with persuasive texts, scripts, and speeches. Pay attention to their unique language, rhythm, and persuasive techniques. Model the masters. Identify influential speakers or writers known for their hypnotic language prowess. Study their style, choice of words, and how they construct their message. Practice mindfulness. Developing heightened awareness of your own and others' language patterns can improve your language adaptability. Engage in role play. Practice different scenarios where you can apply hypnotic language, such as negotiations, drafting contracts, or delivering arguments. Exercises for applying hypnotic language in legal scenarios. Frame shift exercise. Take a standard legal document and attempt to reframe it using hypnotic language. Notice the shifts in tone and clarity. Advocacy speech. Draft a speech where you advocate for a particular stance. Utilize storytelling, sensory-rich descriptions, and control the narrative arc with hypnotic techniques. Mock negotiation. Conduct a mock negotiation where both parties use hypnotic language, adjusting and adapting language use based on reactions. Tips for effective refinement of hypnotic language over time. Continuous feedback. Seek feedback from colleagues and mentors. Have them assess your hypnotic language proficiency in terms of clarity, persuasiveness, and engagement. Reflect and evaluate. Regularly reflect on your hypnotic language use. Evaluate what language techniques worked well and which ones need improvement. Stay current. Hypnotic language is dynamic and changes with societal and cultural shifts. It's essential to keep abreast of language trends and adjust your strategies accordingly. Measure your success. Keep track of instances where you've successfully employed hypnotic language, and analyze what contributed to those successes. Hypnotic language skills aren't built overnight. Patience, consistent practice, and a mindset of continuous improvement will go a long way in refining these abilities. The upcoming section will continue to provide you with more insights, examples, and techniques to help you achieve mastery in this communication art. Challenges and potential pitfalls. In this section, we explore the challenges and potential pitfalls when applying hypnotic language in legal scenarios. While hypnotic language can be an effective persuasive tool, it's essential to use it ethically and responsibly. Misuses and highly controversial usages of hypnotic language. Coercion and manipulation. One of the most significant risks is the potential use of hypnotic language to coerce or manipulate others, overriding their ability to make free and informed decisions. This can lead to negative consequences and reputational damage for legal professionals. Exaggeration and misrepresentation. Hypnotic language might entice some to exaggerate or misrepresent facts, risking credibility and potentially breaching legal and ethical standards. Muddying the waters. Over-reliance on hypnotic language can make it challenging to discern the core argument or understand the actual legal implications, leading to confusion and prolonged legal battles. Addressing potential backlash or counter-arguments. Transparency and clarity. It's crucial to maintain transparency and clear communication when using hypnotic language. Avoid misrepresenting facts or using language that could confuse or mislead. Acknowledging objections. Address potential objections and counter-arguments head-on, and incorporate explanations that demonstrate understanding and empathy. Demonstrate good intent. Show that your intention is to serve the best interests of your client and the legal system, rather than merely manipulate or deceive. Strategies to avoid ethical dilemmas. Establish boundaries. Set clear limits on the degree and extent to which you employ hypnotic language, ensuring you prioritize ethical considerations in all circumstances. Continuous learning. Invest in ongoing education about the ethical application of hypnotic language, and stay informed about industry guidelines and norms. Seek feedback and supervision. Reach out to colleagues, mentors, or supervisors experienced in hypnotic language to evaluate your use and help you navigate potential pitfalls. By understanding the challenges, potential pitfalls, and ethical dilemmas often associated with using hypnotic language in legal scenarios, you can make informed decisions on how to develop and apply these persuasive techniques responsibly. Hypnotic language in legal documents, summary and takeaway. As we reach the end of this very brief exploration into applying hypnotic language in legal scenarios, let's reflect on the key takeaways and anticipate the trajectory of hypnotic language in the future. The future of hypnotic language in legal documents. Hypnotic language is already leaving its mark in the realm of legal persuasion. With increased awareness and understanding of this domain, we can expect its prevalence to grow in the future. It's foreseeable that legal professionals will continue to incorporate hypnotic language techniques in their written and oral argumentation, leading to a more persuasive and effective means of communication within legal settings. Encouragement and reinforcement of ethical practice. As the use of hypnotic language in law becomes more widespread, it will become increasingly vital to emphasize ethical practice. This includes the transparent and responsible use of hypnotic techniques, avoiding manipulation, coercion, and misrepresentation of facts. Legal professionals and organizations should champion the development and reinforcement of ethical guidelines, ensuring that the application of hypnotic language aligns with the values of the justice system. Final thoughts on mastering persuasion through hypnotic language. Mastering hypnotic language is a continuous process of learning and refining your skills. It encompasses exploring various persuasive techniques, understanding the nuances of language, and practicing the art of suggestion with a keen focus on ethical considerations. By leveraging the power of hypnotic language, legal professionals can become more persuasive and influential in their communication, resulting in better outcomes for their clients and the broader legal system. In the final analysis, hypnotic language offers legal practitioners an invaluable asset in the art of persuasion and effective communication. With consistent practice, as well as adherence to ethical guidelines, hypnotic language skills can be honed, enabling legal professionals to better serve their clients and further the pursuit of justice in their respective fields. Remember, communication is an art. Hypnotic language is mastery over that art. And mastery begins with a single step. Thank you for joining us on this profound journey through the art of persuasion with hypnotic language in legal documents. We hope you found the exploration into the psychological depths of persuasion as captivating and insightful as we intended it to be. If this video has piqued your interest in the power of language and shown you the potential of integrating hypnotic techniques into legal writing, then we've achieved our goal. Remember, the key to effective persuasion is not just in what you say but how you say it. Now, it's over to you. What do you think about using hypnotic language in legal documents? Have you noticed any change in your perception of legal communication? Do drop your thoughts, experiences, and insights in the comments section below. We love hearing from you and value your perspective. And if you haven't already, please take a second to like this video. It helps more people find our content and delve into the fascinating world of legal persuasion. Subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an opportunity to enhance your persuasion skills further. Sharing is caring, so if you know someone who'd appreciate this deep dive into hypnotic language and its place in legal practice, or perhaps someone looking to refine their persuasive abilities, share this video with them. Again, thank you for watching. Until next time, keep persuading, keep refining your skills, and most importantly, keep exploring the vast potential of language. #mastering persuasion #legal hypnosis #subscribe for more.